My favorite video games elicit emotions in me. Oftentimes the games that I connect with most are the ones that make me feel genuine emotion, from joy to camaraderie to sadness and even grief and mourning. While many stories have the ability to bring out these feelings in people, video games are special in that, since you're the one in control of one of the characters, you feel as though you're a part of the story and can therefore sympathize with the emotions that the writers and developers are trying to convey.
Basically what he's trying to say is that he's a little bitch and cries over ones and zeros in the shape of anime girls.
In my video about cringe culture, which you can click up here to watch, I spoke a bit about Danganronpa, so let's just get that one out of the way real quick.
Use this timestamp to skip past this part and avoid spoilers for the Danganronpa series.
While Danganronpa 2 made me fall in love with Chiaki, and her death made me very sad, as you can see from that clip in the cringe culture video, the brutal torture and slow painful death of her real-life counterpart completely floored me. I was absolutely lost for words when I saw it, and when I rewatched that episode again, I actively bawled. I think knowing what was about to happen made the impact hit much, much harder for me. This was easily the most I've cried over a piece of media, ever. But Danganronpa is barely even a video game, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. Danganronpa wasn't my only experience with crying in a video game, though. It wasn't even my first. Not by a long shot. My first memory of a game that made me cry was the terrifying, nightmare-inducing, emotional whirlwind of an experience that was Luigi's Mansion.
You can't be fucking serious.
I'm completely serious. Luigi is thrusted into a gauntlet of specters and spooks that he is so very clearly terrified of. He's basically shaking in his shoes for the entire game. Literally. The animations for Luigi and small cutscenes that play here and there go a long way in selling the pure terror Luigi feels throughout his entire journey. Sometimes you may even wonder why he puts himself through this, until you reach the well in the backyard for your grim reminder. Despite years of playing second fiddle, relegated to player 2, or even just being the butt of the joke, Luigi would very clearly do anything to save his brother. That includes braving the haunted architecture of the mansion to reach the depths of the basement and actively hunt down King Boo.
You're describing this silly kids game like it's Resident Evil or something.
Well, from Luigi's perspective, it's not just a silly kids game. There's genuine fear in everything he does. But he has the determination to overcome that fear and save his beloved brother. So when you reach the end and you see tears flow from his eyes as all he can think to do is laugh out of pure happiness and relief that this nightmare is finally over and Mario is safe, this is the single most human moment in the Mario franchise, and it is very powerful. I cried when I was 8, and I still tear up to this day. In my Danganronpa example, my extreme emotional reactions came from interpersonal connections between myself and the characters that I was interacting with. After examining my own taste in video games and storytelling in general, I've found that these are the kinds of things that I gravitate towards in my favorite pieces of media. Characters that I could really connect with and fall in love with are what I look for the most in my media. Most likely because I struggle to create or maintain any healthy friendships or relationships in my own life, and this is some kind of weird escapism for me.
That's pretty sad.
Quite. Anyway, it seems that I subconsciously hunt for an emotional connection in games, and that seems to be where most of my tears are shed. Another example of this being Fire Emblem Awakening. And I'm not talking about the story's obvious depiction of those connections. Lord knows the game loves to shove the idea of bonds being immortal down every orifice in the player's body. I'm more talking about the things that I felt during gameplay, after I'd already built my connection to these characters. I felt anger, fear, love, hatred, and sadness just by commanding my army. Although that was mostly the case for my first few playthroughs, don't get me wrong, I still love this game and every single character in it. But playing it so much has helped me realize that it can be kind of a broken mess. Once you get her, and if you build her right, you can basically clear every map in the game with Morgan alone. But that doesn't stop me from becoming genuinely emotional when a character misses an easy one-hit KO and loses their life. And I play on casual mode.
And just like that, the Fire Emblem community will never take you seriously.
Hey, if they're just gonna reset the game every time a character dies anyway, then they're just playing casual with extra steps. At least I'm not using Phoenix mode. Ugh. Anyway, beyond gameplay moments, this game's final act, which I won't spoil because Junji watches these videos, and at the time of recording we're still playing through it live on this channel, please subscribe and stop by, shameless plug, love you Junji, but the combination of such a long and perilous journey that you can't help but be invested in, combined with characters that you quickly grow to love and care for, and a fucking gorgeous final boss theme, well, I cry every time. How about another silly example? Sonic Adventure 2. Edgy little Skyme16 loved Shadow the Hedgehog.
Don't use past tense like that's an opinion long gone. Shadow is, and will always be your favorite Sonic character, you emo little bitch.
I'm gonna put that hologram projector of yours in a garbage disposal.
I'm stored in the cloud, backed up on every computer I've ever come in contact with online, and built into every smart device you've ever touched. You can't escape me.
Fine, Shadow the Hedgehog is my favorite Sonic character, especially in Adventure 2. Throughout the hero's story, he's so mysterious and becomes a real threat. Well, theoretically at least. It's unclear where he comes from or what his motivations are. He's this big fat question mark with really cool black and red spikes and some real hair on his chest. Literally. But when you get to the dark story, he quickly becomes the character with the most fleshed out backstory in the franchise. Probably. Maybe. I totally made that up, but you get my point. There's so much to delve into with this character, and he puts it all on the line for the final story, where he realizes what Maria, and in some ways even Gerald, have always wanted from him. Seeing him give up the rest of his life force to sacrifice himself and save all of humanity was the first time I felt the impact of a character's death before. Well, I mean, I had seen The Lion King, but I was kinda too young and or stupid to care at the time.
You cried over the brooding cartoon hedgehog with superpowers who didn't even actually die, but not over motherfucking Mufasa.
I was a very stupid child.
And now you're a very stupid man-child.
I mean, yeah, sure, I cried over Shadow, but I didn't beat that game until I was like 10. The first time I played it was when I was like 3, and I sobbed over losing my Chow Garden save data because I didn't have a memory card for my GameCube.
If you said any age over 5, I would have laughed you out of frame.
Noted. There are actually a few games that had me tearing up just because I consider them to be incredible works of art. Mario does this to me a lot, honestly. Playing Super Mario Galaxy feels like what I imagine holding your firstborn child is like, and I was getting emotional over Odyssey before the game was even out. Breath of the Wild presented me with emotions that I still haven't been able to process. Every single Pikmin ending gets me choked up. The entire experience of playing Sonic Mania gives me feelings of nostalgia and childish euphoria that I can't even begin to describe.
Are you going to end this video anytime soon?
Neptune, would it kill you to show some sympathy for the emotionally challenged?
Are you insinuating that I'm incapable of understanding human emotions? I'll have you know that I cried when Tech XX shut down in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. I know you're an idiot, but I always thought you to be more open-minded than that, Captain.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
This robophobia will not go unpunished, Captain. Rest assured I will have my revenge.
Huh, I guess this is what Kokichi must have felt like. I should probably go get her some more RAM as an apology gift.
Hee hee hee, sucker.